Welcome back to In Business. We are with Jody Steinhauer, the Chief Bargain Officer with the Bargains Group, and we're talking about the ROI of giving. So before we went away, I showed you a little backpack that we have here. Jody, this is packed with over 30 different items. Why do you put them in here? Who's this designed for?
Well, these kits are what Project Winter Survival builds and distributes to all of the homeless outreach programs within an hour of Toronto. And they are filled with the essential products that if somebody was living out on the streets in the wintertime, what they would need to survive. There's a sleeping bag that goes with that, and in it there's all sorts of hygiene products, also a toque, a pair of socks, a pair of gloves, you know, a bottle of water, a granola bar, you know, the essential things that people need to survive.
And a great idea, because there's so many people that do live on the streets that when it gets cold, you know, sometimes there's not a lot of places to go, and these essentials. So who would provide this kind of backpack with all these goodies inside to a homeless person?
Well, we work with our vendors and businesses throughout the year who are constantly hearing about what we do and donating product. We built over 3,000 kits this year with a value of just under $1 million. It's quite a large project.
Wow.
And the great thing is companies also now are getting on board, large companies like KPMG and Best Western, the Hanes Celestial Food Group. They're getting on board and saying, we want to do something with our employees. We want to do something and make a difference, so they can come out for a couple hours, get involved, pack the kits, and it's a real feel-good project. And you know, I'm a business person, so I understand that I can get them engaged for a couple hours. They don't have a day, and they want to do something. And then when you drive anywhere and you see somebody who's homeless and you feel real proud that, wow, that's the kit that I packed.
You have a program that you're just bringing to life now called Give Back Where You Live. Help us understand what that program is.
Give Back Where You Live is the big project. It's probably going to be 20 years in the works, and we've just, we're working with Mars, which we're very excited about. The CEO of Mars has taken us under her wing, and it's all about our local communities, you know, making our communities stronger. And it's a mammoth project, but my vision is in 20 years from now, every employer is going to be giving every one of their employees Give Back Where You Live days to work out in the community doing what they are brilliant at. So it's not just about volunteering your time at a local food bank. If you're an accountant, you're going to be doing accounting. If you're a marketing person, you're going to do marketing, because our governments can't sustain all the not-for-profits. But there's so much business intelligence across the country, so I'm just about leveraging everything and bringing it all together. There'll also be parts of it that will be taught in our school system, and there'll be these regional projects like Project Winter Survival, Project Water, building school supply kits for kids, where those who want to get even more engaged will be able to come out with their teams and build.
In order to put this all together, you must be the ultimate Uber networker. You must be constantly making connections to have all this stuff coming together. What's the biggest challenge that you have in your business, and not necessarily from an operational standpoint, but as a CEO running this business, which is spanning, your reach now is where? Across Canada?
Yeah, we're national.
Across Canada. What's your biggest challenge these days?
I think the biggest challenge is just, you know, finding the right people. It's nothing that you haven't heard from anybody else. Finding the right people who are passionate and engaged about, especially about the charitable projects we do, because it takes a certain type of person. And people that can keep up. We run a pretty fast pace, and it's very, very exciting. And people constantly want to come in and please all of us, because they want to be part of this kind of family we've created.
Right.
And it's tough. It's tough, but you know, there's great people out there. We're always looking, but I think that is the biggest challenge everybody has. I mean, if you could kind of have everybody start on the same day and everybody grow at the same pace and everybody, you know, on the same day, life would be a lot easier.
So when I need something bought at a great price, you're the person that I should come to see. Yeah,
well, you can go to the website bargainsgroup.com. There's over 20,000 items on there, and we say if it's not on there, you know, call the number. We're old-fashioned people, you know. We pick up a phone and we'll either tell you, you know, I get people who call me all over Canada and say, we'd like to buy some of your Kleenex wholesale, and I say, no, I'm not sending you Kleenex to, you know, Saskatchewan. That doesn't make sense. On this day of this month, No Frills will have it at 67 cents. Go in and buy it there. And they're like, wow, thank you. So we're all about really helping people.
So you know
it's not about making the sale.
You know the best prices everywhere.
Sure, I'm Bargain Jody. We have bargains in our blood, we say. Yeah.
Bargains in the blood. That's great. Jody, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us. Jody Steinhauer from Bargains Group. The Give Back Where You Live program, it's an important program. Ask your employer about it and see how you can get involved. We will be back with more In Business after a few short messages from our sponsors. Up next, we discuss the federal budget and what it means for your business. Stay with us. There's lots more to come on In Business. Welcome back to In Business. I'm your host, David Wojcik. The federal Conservatives won a majority in the last election, and you would expect them to be ramming all their pet projects and campaign promises through the budget, regardless of what the opposition has to say. But their first budget was called a little beige, which left many critics without any ammunition to fire. To discuss the federal budget is a very familiar face to Rogers, Brad Butt, MP for Mississauga-Streetsville. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
David.
For
coming in.
Thanks, great to be here.
There's not a lot to criticize about the budget. There's a number of some people say there's small things. I guess if you're on the receiving ends of job cuts within the federal government, it's not a small thing. But let's first of all talk about the 19,200 jobs that the federal budget or the federal government is planning to reduce out of the federal employment rolls.
Well, one of the things that we looked at, and it was actually Minister Clement led a review of the size and scope of the public service in Canada to determine where we could make some, I think, modest and strategic reductions in the overall size of the federal government, the number of full-time positions that we have within government. When numbers get thrown around like 19,200 or whatever the numbers is, we're talking about positions, we're not talking about people necessarily. Because we do have a healthy attrition and retirement rate within the public service. This will involve simply reducing the overall size of government. It's a very small reduction, all things considered, compared to what other countries around the world are having to do in significantly shrinking the size and cost of their governments. But we think taxpayers deserve to get the proper value for money and a public service that works hard for them, but within a modest size that we can afford.
Can we put it in perspective of how many people does the federal government employ with full-time employees, contract people? How many? What kind of roles are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but it's in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, obviously, that are employed in all the various government departments, and not just within Canada. We employ thousands of people all around the world. They work on our embassies. They're working in the Department of National Defense. They're working for agencies like CEDA, which is the International Development Agency. And then those agencies fund other groups that do some of the World Vision and some of these other organizations that we know well that actually deliver some of that work across throughout the world on our behalf. So there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of full-time positions. To be eliminating less than 20,000 of those positions in the size of the bureaucracy that we have in Canada, I would suggest is a very modest decrease, but will allow us to reshape and rethink how these various departments are operating so that we're maximizing our efficiencies.
So we move on to the penny. We got rid of the penny, which is going to save us a few billion dollars, I guess, in production. And really, what does a penny buy you any more anyway? So we'll skip over that one. The other one that's on everybody's mind is the increase to the age of 67 for old age security. This is going to save us some money, obviously. What's the backlash? Some people are saying it's good. Some people are saying, you know, for people that are in their mid-40s, this is going to cost them about $13,000 in benefits by the time they get there.
Well, I think the most responsible thing that we did is that we looked at a demographic problem that we're going to have by 2030 in a budget today, that we are taking a long-term approach, that we're not having to take immediate drastic measures like Greece, as an example, that simply realized that their retirement income system was absolutely unsustainable today, not by 2030. Here's the demographic reality. In Canada today, we have 4 working people for every 1 person that is claiming old age security benefits. And OAS, the viewers should know, OAS is 100% supported by the tax base. It's not like CPP, where you contributed, your employer contributed. It's an insurance plan or a pension plan for down the road. This is 100% supported by taxes you and I pay today.
And CPP, I believe you've said, is sustainable through
sustainable
for
well, the
years?
actuaries have said for at least 80 years. And I agree with that. That's not an issue. And the guaranteed income supplement, which is the supplement that goes to the lowest income seniors, we're not touching either. That is a matter of fact, our last budget significantly increased GIS to the lowest income seniors. But with OAS, here's the challenge. 4 working people today contributing so 1 person can claim. By 2030, that's going to be 2 working people for every 1 person claiming. At the current rates and under the current structure, that is not sustainable. That is a longer-term crisis to some degree in our retirement income security program. So what Minister Flaherty has done, what the Prime Minister has done, is we've tried to take a responsible, longer-term look at this to give Canadians plenty of opportunity, Canadians my age, to say, you know what, 65 will not be the age at which you can start claiming the benefits. To maintain the system and make it sustainable if you're collecting after 2029, it will be the age of 67. The other thing we know is people are living longer, and people are choosing to work longer. We're not suggesting that everybody has to keep working to 67 or some age beyond that. That's going to be a choice they're going to make, and they'll weigh the pros and cons of that. But for a lot of Canadians, they will not need to collect at 65 in 2030 and beyond. 67 will be a fairer, more appropriate age for that one item. Now, CPP we're not changing, GIS is not changing under this plan. So I think we're taking a longer-term responsible look. Yes, there are going to be people that don't think that's fair and right, but I think we're trying to be responsible for the longer term.
Speaking of responsibility, when are we going to see a balanced budget? Is it 2 years out, 5 years out? What's the best guess?
Minister Flaherty's projection is the 2015-2016 fiscal year that will be back at balance, based on the modest plan he's put together, the conservative estimates for economic growth and so on, and us maintaining the low tax environment that we have. We have not raised taxes. We are not raising taxes. We believe the economy can grow us into, and with some modest cuts in government spending, that we can get to balance by 2015, 2016. So that will lead us in to the October 2015 election campaign. And we will campaign on our record, and we'll say to Canadians that we did what we felt was responsible given where we were as a country, and Canadians will pass judgment at that time on whether our plan is working.
It's a nice, convenient time to have the